Welcome once again to another Mundane Monday. It's nice to have you back. Today, I am going to tell you guys a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me that well. I was born on the island nation of Dominica, and no, it's not the Dominican Republic. It's an island between the French islands of Martinique and Guadeloupe. We used to be a British colony, but we got our independence in 1978. However, I left Dominica in 1980, so I only lived on the island for approximately 2 years after it had gotten its independence. I have lived about 3/4 of my life outside of Dominica. However, I still appreciate the culture of the island of my birth. October is Creole month in Dominica, and during Creole month, islanders wear national costume and the Creole head wraps. And so this is October. I decided to wrap my hair and wear my dress. Although um, I usually wrap my hair all year anyway, but today I tried to wrap it a little more fancy. So, hope you like it. Dominica got its independence from the British in 1978, like I stated earlier. They used to be British, then French, then British. I don't remember how many times they switched hands, but eventually they were British and were British for a very long time until 1978 when they became independent. They celebrate local native dance and local and native foods grown on the island. And during the entire month, the local history of the island is celebrated. It wasn't always this way. I remember when I was growing up, sometimes when we spoke the local dialect, which is a French Creole, we would get chastised because supposedly only the uneducated spoke patois. But they're realizing that if they don't embrace their local culture, customs, and language, it will be lost. And so now they're making a more concerted effort to hold on to what is theirs. And I appreciate that. And so that's why in October, I am joining with the people of Dominica to celebrate National Creole Month. English is the main language spoken in Dominica. However, like I said, we also have a local dialect, which is Patois or French Creole, and that is also celebrated during the month of National Creole Month. I have two mundane tips for you today, and the first one is when you're making a recipe that asks for eggs, please break each egg in a separate container before adding it to your ingredients. And the reason for that is if there is one rotten egg, you will catch it before you put it into your ingredients and spoil your entire recipe. The second mundane tip is to use these eggshells as a type of fertilizer for your plants. You can crush the eggshells and add it to your dirt or your compost, and it is very good nutrients for your plants. I left Dominica in 1980 and migrated to the island of St. Thomas, which is one of the U.S. Virgin Islands. However, I only stayed in St. Thomas for about 9 months and migrated from there to New York. I continued high school in New York, graduated, and went on to university in Manhattan. Growing up on an island, it wasn't difficult to make friends. All my friends, I basically knew them from birth, and so it it was just you just had friends by default. Growing up in your village, everybody on your street was your friends, and all your cousins were there, and you spent time with your cousins, and you just made friends organically. So when I got to New York, it was a little more difficult for me to make friends, but thankfully I had my sisters, so I had built-in friends. So after having left Dominica in 1980, I did not return until the year 2000. And for those 20 years, I kind of lost track of my culture. I never really thought about it or participated in it very much. And I basically just immersed myself into the American culture. But I started getting back into it once I visited again in the year 2000. I think going back in 2000 when I was already an adult made me appreciate the culture even more. When I was a teenager and I got to New York, all I wanted to do was to assimilate and not be different. Most immigrant kids will tell you if you go to a place and you're a teenager in high school, it can be really difficult. And all you want to do is assimilate and not stand out. So, after having gone back in 2000, I got reacquainted with my culture and I started seeking out other Dominicans. And so I reconnected with an entire group of people that I had lost touch with. When I got to New York in 1981, there was no social media, there was no Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and so you had to keep in touch with your friends by letters. And after a while, you know, you just lost touch with people. People stopped writing, but now it's much easier to stay in touch. Oh, phone calls were really expensive back then. You basically only called people for special occasions or for a death or whatever. Anyway, now with social media, the internet, it is so much easier to keep in touch with my cousins and my friends. Back in Dominica, it's been so nice reconnecting with everybody, and life is grand again. I am an American citizen by naturalization, and I have lived in the United States much longer than I ever lived in Dominica. I have lived 75% of my life in the United States. However, I am a Dominican by birth. No one can take that away from me. So, I would like to wish my fellow Dominicans a happy National Creole Month. Enjoy the natural foods, enjoy the local dances, enjoy the art, enjoy just immerse yourself in the culture, and there's take pride in your national heritage. Just because you have left the island and made a home for yourself someplace else does not mean that you cannot still embrace your culture. It doesn't mean that you don't like the new place that you now call home. It doesn't mean that you don't want to be an American. It just means that you are embracing your beginnings. Every other culture does it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Embrace your culture and be happy to be the person that you are today. Thank you once again for joining me on this gloriously mundane Monday, and I look forward to talking to you again next Monday. Bye.